What's up, you guys? This is Thach. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to buy your first rental property using the BRRRR strategy. The BRRRR strategy is one of my favorite ways to buy long-term rental property. And let me tell you why. One, I can buy the property and I can add value and force value and get sweat equity instantly the moment I'm done rehabbing the property. Number two, my mortgage is usually lower and I usually get better cash flow because the mortgage is lower. And of course, when owning these properties, I get write-off, I get cash flow, and I get to have appreciation. This is strategy. When you learn how to master this, it is the bomb, baby. Let me explain. All right, you guys. I'm going to show you guys how to buy your first rental property using the BRRRR strategy and the requirement it's going to take to actually do the BRRRR strategy, okay? One, I'm going to share with you what the BRRRR strategy actually means. Two, the requirement on what actually take to do it right and successfully. And then three, what type of people you need to have in your team to do this right. And then lastly, I'm going to share with you a real life example of a rental property I use the BRRRR strategy on. So let's get started, baby. So here's the requirement, what you're going to need to do the BRRRR strategy. Now, I'm going to go a lot more in depth, okay? A little bit further down this video on this whole requirement. But for now, here's what you're going to need. Number one, you're going to need good credit. Because later on, when you refi into permanent financing, you're going to need good credit. And you need at least 620 or higher. The higher your credit score is, the better your interest rate is going to be. Just remember that, okay? Now, the other thing you're going to need is you're going to need at least 2 years of work history at the same place. You can be self-employed, work at the same place, or you can work for someone, but it has to be at least 2 years on your tax return that show you've been actually working at the same place for at least 2 years, okay? The third thing you're going to need is when you do your rehab, your purchase price and your rehab, what I call all-in number. Your all-in number has to be at least 65% to 70% of the ARV. ARV stands for after repair value. So I'm going to use an easy example. If your ARV is $1 million, you're going to need to be all in at $650,000 or $700,000 because you need at least 25 to 30% equity in the deal in order to do the BRRRR strategy and get your original down payment back in your pocket. And all this is going to make a lot more sense once I go through the BRRRR strategy with you guys later on in this video. So now you got to put a team together in order for you to do the BRRRR strategy. The first person on your team is you got to be the person who actually have to go find the deal. Either you're going to have to find the deal. Like for me, I actually go out there and I look for a deal myself. If you got time, you can find them yourself by you driving around. You see ugly houses, houses need a lot of work. You can actually write letters to those people. You can door knock to people. You can call them, ask them if they want to sell. If you don't have time to do all that, you can find a wholesaler, someone who actually go do those, and then they will tie it up and they'll sell it to you. They make a little bit of profit on that. So you're not going to get the best deal if you do it yourself versus you hire, you don't hire a wholesaler. The wholesaler is going to do it himself, but then they look for investors they can sell the deal to. Now, you can find wholesaler by, if you go on social media and you say, hey, I'm looking to buy a deal. Anyone out there is a wholesaler? Send me these deals in this area I'm looking for. Tell them what you want. Or there's a lot of online investment club or social media club where you can actually go there and tell them, hey, I'm an investor. I'm looking for this type of deal, this type of condition. Any of you guys a wholesaler out there, send me deals. Or you can actually have a realtor find you fixer-upper on the MLS. Sometime you will find deal on the MLS. The challenge is when there are fixer on MLS, there's a lot of investors looking for deals on there. And so what happens is that they get multiple offer and they get outbid, and then those deals, it don't become deals no more. But there's time when you do find them out there, okay? Other thing you can do is more advanced. I've seen a lot of investors hire what they call virtual assistant. And they actually, these virtual assistants go out there and they find deal by calling and marketing to people, and then they basically bring it back to you. Like, for example, we have VAs that go find deal for us also. So these are just some ways how to find deal. The second person you need on your team is a general contractor. In order to find a good general contractor, you gotta talk to other investors who are hopefully somebody you know that have worked with general contractor a few projects and they've been reliable and they're reasonable in price. Then you get referral from your friend or investor friend that have done it. Those are the best referrals. Another way to do it is actually, again, you go to these real estate Facebook clubs, or sometimes they do it live. You can talk to people there and ask them who they use for contractor, right? Or sometimes contractor are in these clubs on social media or live and you can meet them. But if you haven't seen their work, you might want to check reference to see how well they did, how reliable they are. Or you got to go out there and check a look at their project and see how they done. The third thing you can do is you can find them on Angie's List and read the reviews on them. If they got a lot of reviews, then those are the people you want to hire a general contractor. The third person on your team is a hard money lender. Hard money lender are basically private lenders that will lend money to rehab houses. They don't really care about your credit. As long as you have typically 10 to 20% down based on your experience, and you have some experience of rehabbing houses, or at least your contractor have experience rehabbing house, they'll lend you the money. How you find a hard money lender is very similar to how you find a general contractor. And the fourth person you want on your team is a traditional lender. Traditional lender are the typical lender that's gonna basically lend you the money so you can do a 30-year fix. Because hard money lender, they do short-term lending. Once you refi your house out of hard money lending, you need to put it in traditional lending. Like the 30-year loan, you need the traditional lender. These lenders, they want at least 620 credit score and higher. They want 2 years of working history at the same job. If you want most or all of your original down payment back in your pocket when you refinance to permanent financing, you're gonna need to make sure your all-in number is 65 to 70% all-in of your ARV. ARV is after repair value. You want at least 65 to 70% all-in, or 25 to 30% margin in these deals. And that's how you're going to be able to get a lot of your original down payment or all of it back in your pocket when you refi to permanent financing. Now that you know what you need and who you need on your team, so let's go over the BRRRR strategy and what it is and how to do it the right way. So here's what the BRRRR strategy actually means. So B stands for buy it. Now, the key with doing the BRRRR strategy correctly is you want to buy it in a condition that need a lot of work. A lot of people buy the property that don't need a lot of work. The key is you want to buy the property in a really bad condition. The worse the condition, the better the BRRRR strategy is going to work, okay? R stands for renovate it. The second R stands for rent it out. Then the next R stands for refinance it. And then the last R stands for repeat the process. And I'm going to explain this whole process on a real deal I bought recently using the BRRRR strategy. Let me explain the BRRRR strategy in detail, because when I watch people that watch my video, they explain BRRRR totally different, and then sometimes they buy property and they go, "That I just did a BRRRR," and I say to myself, "That isn't a BRRRR. You just bought a rental property and you just actually rented it. You didn't even rehab the property." So let me explain to you in detail how it works. So the B stands for, again, buy it, and the key here is you gotta buy the property in a fixer condition form. You can buy a property in what I call good condition, move in, ready to go. Or you can buy a fixer. To me, when you buy a property already clean, move in, then you just buy it and you don't do nothing to it, you rent it out. You can do that. All that is, you just buying what I call a rental property. But when you hear somebody use the word BRRRR, the biggest reason why they use the word BRRRR is this. They buy the property as a fixer and then they rehab the property. And after they rehab the property, they make that property worth as much as a property that's already clean. That way we have instant equity. So the key when you hear people say the BRRRR strategy, you know they actually bought it as a fixer and they rehabbed it and they got instant sweat equity in the deal. Make sense? The first R is renovation. When you buy the property, especially the BRRRR strategy, you gotta renovate. That's the difference. Some people buy properties already in good condition. They don't have to renovate. They buy it and turn it into rental right away. The only difference is they don't have sweat equity. Why I like to do the BRRRR strategy is I don't mind going in and rehabbing it and then actually build sweat equity. As soon as the house is redone, the house is worth more than I actually bought it for. The key with doing the BRRRR strategy is you gotta learn how to add value and force value. What does that mean? Add value is you rehab what's already existing. So let's say it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1-level house and it's super dated or it's a major fixer. Added value, you just 3-bedroom, 2-bath, what's already there. Forcing value is you actually finish out something. For example, forcing value is buying a house with 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and there's an unfinished basement. What you do is you finish up the basement so you get more square footage, more bedroom, bathroom. Now you're gonna make the house worth a lot more money, especially if the upstairs is a fixer. So I like to buy a property where I like to add value, rehab the upstairs, for example, and then force value, which is adding more bedroom, bathroom downstairs, make it look new. So by the end of the day, I have a whole new house that I remodel upstairs and add more bedroom downstairs. That means that thing is worth a lot more money when I'm done with it. And that's how you can actually do the BRRRR strategy, and you can get 20, 25, 30% margin. You can't get no margin if you buy the property already in good condition. That's the difference between a BRRRR strategy property versus buying something already done and clean rental property. The second R stands for rent. All right, the second R stands for rent. After you renovate the property and look all nice, then you gotta go out there and find a renter for it. Now for me, I actually have a property manager that actually manages it for me. Now before, I had 15 property. My wife and I, we actually managed it ourselves. So we actually went out there and learned how to do it at the beginning. I think it's good that anyone who actually own rental, they should at least try to rent it themselves for the first 1 or 2 property, maybe 3. That way you understand how to actually, run ads, how to screen your tenants, how to manage the property, how to pay the bills. You need to know that, the ins and out of being a property manager. And that way, by the time you turn it over to the property manager, they can't really sell you on something they do or don't do, because oh, that don't work, oh, that worked. So for us, when we had 15 rental properties, we knew certain things we did was effective, and then certain time we handled it to a property manager, they were trying to tell me they're going to do this and this and this. I actually said to them, why? That's just a waste of time and money. Why should I spend money on that? And they couldn't argue with that. I ran it. We managed the first 15 property ourselves, okay? Now, today, I have a property manager. They manage it for us. Where they rent and where they run the ads, we run ads in Craigslist. Craigslist is actually a great place to run ads. Literally, most people that own rental property, even apartment building, they rent it on Craigslist. The other place we put it on is MLS, and we also put it on Trulia, okay? And of course, my social media page. So Craigslist probably does the most. The rest of the stuff is bonus. We rent it out that way. That's how we find a tenant. Now for me, my property manager, they screen everybody. What they do is they try to get at least 18-month lease. We used to do 12 months, but we realized it's actually better to do 18 months, because if you rent it, let's say in January, it comes around January, and hopefully you don't rent it in the bad time. You rent it in December, it comes around December, and you're gonna go vacant, then you're vacant in December, which is the worst time to rent your property out. So it's always better to do 18 months if you can get it. We charge first, last, and deposit. The biggest thing I'm gonna tell you right now, and I told this to somebody the other day, if you're gonna rent the house out, you don't do nobody a favor. If they can't come up with first, last, and deposit, and if they get really, really bad history of being a renter, as much as they give you the sad story, if you don't want to have bad experience being a landlord, just don't rent to them. Because the moment you do them a favor and the shit don't turn out well, you guys are gonna get very disappointed, mad at them and mad at yourself for actually doing it. I got a property manager to do all that, but if you're gonna manage yourself, do the same thing. And that's where I have a property manager, I let them deal with it, and then that's where we rent and find tenant. The next R is refinance. For a lot of you don't know, when you do the BRRRR strategy, a lot of traditional lender will not finance these homes because it has way too much work order. The only person that can lend on these homes are hard money lending. And hard money lending, what they require when you buy a fixer-upper is that, especially if they're gonna lend on it, they want you to put at least 20% down, unless you got a lot of experience like me, okay? What they will do is this. Let's say you buy a property for $400,000 and it costs $50,000 rehab. That's $450,000. They want you to put 20% down, which is $90,000. And then they will lend you the rest of the money to close on the deal and to rehab the property. After you basically finish renovating and finding a renter, then when you get done, then you want to refinance out of the short-term, high-interest rate, hard money lending into permanent financing. You want the 30-year fix. You want to refi it, get the 30-year, park it, and ride it out. In order for you to do that, you got to go talk to a regular lender, and then they will refinance you out of hard money and put you into the 30-year fix. In a moment, I'm going to show you a real deal where I bought a property using the BRRRR strategy, and by doing it right, you guys, I got my original down payment, which is that $90,000 I'm talking about in this example, back in my pocket, so I have no money vested in this deal. And the last R is repeat the process. The last R is repeat the process. Everything I explained to you, and you do it right, you get your original down payment, you take that money, and you go do this whole thing all over again. And if you do this right, and you can get a house done within 6 months, for example, you can do 2 BRRRR in 1 year with the exact same down payment. Let me show you a real live example. So let me break down the number, what I paid for this property, how I financed this deal. I paid $365 for this deal, cost me $85,000 to rehab this house. When I bought this deal, 3-bedroom, 2-bath upstairs, and downstairs was a unfinished basement. In order to actually get the most ARV, you gotta find property where you can add value and force value. Since there was nothing in the basement, we added a 1-bedroom, a full bath, and a kitchenette downstairs. So this house became a 4-bedroom, 3-bath house with a second kitchen downstairs for the mother-in-law. And that's why, right, it cost $85,000 to rehab. I'm all in for $450, and this is why this bank They appraised for $725. So after I rehab this property, I wanted to basically refi out of the hard money lending and basically get permanent financing, 30-year fixed. So hard money lender wanted 20% down, which is 90 grand, okay? And then they'll lend you the rest of the money to close in the deal and rehab the deal. So out of pocket, it's only 90 grand to do this deal. Traditional lender says 70%. I'll give you 70% LTV of 725, which is 507 and some change. I didn't need all that money. I just told the bank, just give me 450. If I get 450, if I get a new loan for 450, I can get back my 20%, which is 90 grand, and hard money lender will get back their 80 grand, well, 80% I mean, and then everybody's whole. I get all my original down payment. So I got a new loan for $450,000, which is down here. I'm gonna show you here. My new loan is $450. The bank appraised for $725. I'm all in for $450. That means my equity in this deal was $275,000. Instant equity. That's 38% margin deal. That's a big margin. Just to give you guys an idea, most flipper, they do between 10 and 15% margin. Most people that do BRRRR, they might get 15% margin. When you got about 30+% margin, that is rare. Now, it's not rare for me because I know when I do a BRRRR, I gotta add value and force value. When I bought this property, I said it was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. When I finished the basement up, it became a 4-bedroom, 3-bath house with a second kitchen. You guys see that? That's how you get this kind of margin. So, my new loan, I only took out a loan for $450. I just wanted to be whole, okay? Even though they gave me more money, I didn't want more money. My loan is $450. My mortgage with principal, tax, insurance, property manager is about $2,800. That's all included. I rent the top half of the house out for $24.25. I rent the mother-in-law downstairs for $14.25. So, my rent is $38.50. My mortgage is $2,800. That means I get $1,050 a month in positive cash flow, which is $12,000 a year. So, at the end of the day, since the bank was willing to finance up to 70% of this number, $507,000, I didn't need all the money. All I want is $450 to be whole. So I got a new loan for $450. That means I got my 20% back, and hard money got their 80% back. So when I get my $90,000 back, you guys, I mean I have no money vested in this deal. I didn't take any of my equity out. So I mean I still got my $275 with the equity. And I get $12,000 a year in positive cash flow. This is a full BRRRR. So when anybody talking about BRRRR, you guys, if you don't get over 30%, you're not going to be basically have no money vested. So this deal with no money vested, $275,000 in equity, you repeat the process. You take the 90 grand, you do it again. If it takes you 6 months to rehab it, let's say 4 to 6 months. That means in 1 year, you can do 2 deals with the same $90,000. That right there is how you grow your portfolio, okay? Using the BRRRR strategy also. So you guys, this right here is how you do the BRRRR successfully, okay? That's a wrap for this BRRRR video. Do me a favor, like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.